So Magi Greatness chapter 221, a lot of this chapter has to do with the fact that age ain't nothing but a number, can deceive you sometimes. So I definitely felt that with this chapter is going to start a lot of flame wars regarding this whole pairing type of thing, where pretty much you got Solomon x Sheba and Solomon x Arba, because you can totally see within this chapter that at the very least Sheba is looking at it like it's some love triangle, because obviously in this chapter it's displayed that she does indeed have a crush, or she likes Solomon. And with this time skip, a lot of things were just making me feel like, what the hell's going on? Because in the last, chapter, Solomon looked like he was, maybe 17, 18 or some shit like that. And we find out in this chapter that essentially, I guess he was pretty much 12 last chapter, and if you add 5 years to that, he's 17 now, because at the end of the last chapter it was said that he's pretty much 17 in the next chapter. We're gonna have a time skip where we see a 17-year-old Solomon, so that would mean that he was 12 in the last chapters. And I was just thinking like, yo, this is totally weird. How the hell was he just 12? And likewise with Sheba, because Sheba looked like a little kid. But I think what it was, why he had that adult appearance, is basically explained in this chapter, and that's that the whole aging process is simply a flaw in humanity and the biology of humanity. So they figured out a way that if they want to age, or they want to stop from aging, they could do so. And that's probably what Solomon did, and that's why he had that older looking appearance. Even though he was 12, probably he made his aging progress a lot quicker than normal. Like, even though he was 12 years old, in fact, he had the body of like an 18 or 19-year-old, maybe to have his people follow him. Maybe he felt he needed to look older. So that was definitely interesting to see, because when I, prior to this chapter, I really thought that Sheba was like maybe 9 and Solomon was like 17 or some shit like that, and we find out they were the same age. But it makes sense with this chapter because we found out about that aging process. And you can see how much Solomon has inspired Sheba with this chapter, because Sheba's using the same speech as him. She's winning wars by herself, pretty much doing a lot of different things that you would think Solomon would do, and it's because she's been inspired heavily by him. And you can see not only does she admire this guy, she has a crush on him. Everything about him pretty much inspired her, because in a sense he changed her entire life, because he got her out of that place in life where pretty much doing these things that she now looks at as bad just changed her life completely. So definitely Solomon has impacted her life in a gigantic way, and you can see not only is it admiration, not only is it a crush, it's just everything. Like, I think Solomon is just the focus of her life right now. She's doing everything like him because she wants to be like him, because she admires him, and just, it's a very big thing with her. It was interesting to see Phoenix in this chapter, because if I'm correct, that was one of Cohen's jinn that pretty much it heals and whatnot. So you see where the origin of that started. Pretty much Sheba defeated some of the Orthodox magicians and said, yo, come with us, and uses the same speech as Solomon. So that was interesting nonetheless to see the origins of that jinn, because that's one of Cohen's, and just looked like a typical jinn. And I'm just curious, because some of the jinn that we see like in the past, like, well, prior to them becoming jinn for, Solomon, they kind of actually look like jinn. Like, this one kind of looked like Paimon or whatever, and like, a normal blue jinn. But when we see like some of the other people, they don't look like that. So I'm curious, was it that they are just like of different clans still, and they kind of have that similar look, but like, it's just, since it's a manga, it's hard to tell the difference between them and like a normal jinn? Or was it that there was a particular form that certain people had, and basically eventually Solomon has them all assimilate to that looking form? Because pretty much Phoenix looks like a jinn, but like some of the other people, like Ugo, for example, that ultimately becomes a jinn, doesn't look like one right now. He looks like a normal human. So just curious as to what is that? Is that ultimate assimilation, or, is it just that the manga chapters kind of look like that, but they don't really exactly look like a jinn? And apparently Solomon been fucking going up against his father since he was 7 years old, because it was 10 years ago now since he went up against David and started rebelling against him. So if you go 10 years from now, if he's 17, he was 7. So this kid at 7 years old said, fuck you, Dad. I don't agree with your way of life. I'm going to rebel against you. That just adds even further to the amazingness and the greatness of Solomon. Like, at 7 years old, he went up against the entire religion and everything that he thought of in life and said, fuck them. And what the fuck? Ugo, 58? Really? Really? Ugo, 58? That blew my fucking mind. Like, Ugo's 58. Like, I thought he was like maybe in his 20s or a few years older than Solomon, since he was very wise. But I guess for him to be 58, it would make a lot of sense, in the sense that he's very wise and he comes up with all these crazy deductions of like science and everything. So it would add to like the credibility of it, like, yeah, he's been around a long time, but then it also makes you wonder the friendship between Solomon and him. If Solomon is just like, well, I guess Solomon has always had a older mentality or whatever, and that's probably why you don't see him constantly like Ugo palling around with Solomon, because Ugo is pretty much a lot older and he's not into some of the immature things, because you see in this chapter that Solomon can be immature sometimes when he's joking around, so that's probably why you don't see them constantly. But at the same time, this chapter also kind of adds that whole thing where, you know how Ugo was embarrassed of girls, remember when he was a djinn, and like, even though he didn't have his head, when he would see other girls, he would be all shy and everything, and this chapter kind of showed that as he got older, he pretty much got shy, so we get a little bit of a connection right there. And I really like that it's set up for stuff that we've already seen of how Ugo was shy and everything, where pretty much as he got older, he couldn't get a girlfriend because he would just be shy and he would not really talk to them. So it was nice that they had that little connection right there. And at this point, the whole Gyokuen thing, I'm just fucking lost on it. I don't know if it's Sheba, Arba, one of them takes the other one's body. Everyone keeps saying, yes, I know that is Sheba's staff or whatever that Gyokuen has, but it doesn't look like Sheba. It looks more like Arba, but then the birthmark isn't on either of them. I don't know what it is, if either one of them fell into the Pravati and they just have Sheba's staff, but regardless of what this chapter definitely was pushing forth, that it's one of them. It has to be one of them. And I imagine one of the big reasons why they fell into the Pravati was because of Solomon, whether we're going to find out that he chose one over the other as far as a love interest or whatever it may be, but it's definitely going to be probably due to Solomon pretty much not giving the other one what the other one wanted, which you can kind of see that Arba has some sort of admiration for him because she still keeps calling him young master even though he told her not to. So you can see that she might be wanting Solomon too, but definitely Sheba wants him. So one or the other is going to fall into the Pravati. Me, I'm looking at it as it's Arba's body, but Sheba's mind, maybe? I don't know, because it has Sheba's staff. We'll just have to wait and see, but that's one of the big things that still has me like, who's Gyokuen? But it's interesting that Sheba still gets that old look from time to time that she had prior to joining up with Solomon, when she was still like, you know, with the staff and everything, that kind of disgust look, and that could be somewhat of her falling into the Pravati, because we find out in this chapter that the Magoi that's coming from Elah is starting to get heavy and impure, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's either what David has been doing this entire time, why he hasn't been fighting back, because Solomon already has a third of the world, or 3/3 of the world, something like that, of pretty much everyone following him. So where's David been all along? It could be that he's been corrupting Elah this entire time and basically making the Magoi turn into Black Rook, going from White Rook to Black Rook. And that's probably what David's been doing this entire time, why the Rook is coming down, or the Magoi is coming down a lot heavier and impure. Maybe that's David's strategy. He's gonna fuck up pretty much Elah and make it dark, and that's why when Elah came down in the, you know, current timeline in our world, it was all black, because maybe David turned it black. And maybe that's what also could help to propel people into the Pravati. That could be the catalyst to whoever Gyokuen is. And it's very interesting with this chapter how Solomon is kind of like scared of falling into pretty much what his father is, like a tyrant, sort of, so to speak, because in this one he's like, yo, Arba, please stop calling me by surnames, because I feel if even you guys, you know, my people that I grew up with that since a kid, treat me as like a god, so to speak, then I'm just going to be just like him. And it kind of makes me go back to Sinbad, and kind of how like Sinbad likes to keep his people in a certain way of like, you know, if you don't want to fully assimilate, you don't have to. I don't care what people think of me. He still wants to be around his people, and sometimes he even asks Jafar, like when he asks Jafar, have I become a devious man? That's him looking at them to still ground him to reality. Solomon still wants to be grounded. So, because some people worship him as a god, other species, he said, they come and they look at him like, yo, this is a god right here. So he doesn't want that to impact him and make him get like a certain cockiness or whatever, because then that'll make him fall from who he is right now. So I really like that he's still trying to keep grounded, and it kind of added to that whole relationship between him and Arba when she's like, yes, young master, your sword style sucks. So it kind of added to that whole thing, and I guess in a way what made Sheba jealous. And again, it's unclear whether Arba has any type of feelings other than, you know, admiration towards Solomon, but you can see that there's something there. I just don't know what it is. Could just be friendship though. And then the end of the chapter with pretty much the origin dragon that Solomon is going to speak to. This is the guy that he was referencing to when he said that there was somebody prior to us even becoming magicians, a race that was way back in the day. And I'm curious what this origin dragon is going to have to offer regarding the whole story, and just, is there any connection to this origin dragon to our timeline, or has he been completely wiped out since then? It would be real interesting if this origin dragon that Solomon is going to speak to is still somewhere in our world in the current timeline. And just overall, I'm guessing that he's going to be somewhat of a knowledgeable person and might tell him the Magoi is pretty much being corrupted and you're going to have to go and do something about it. Or he could be just completely like a dick or something. I'm curious to see where that goes, and that was just an interesting thing, because now now. At the end of the chapter, it said next week we're going to get another revelation. And overall, this was a good chapter. Focused a bit too much on the whole pairing thing with Sheba being jealous of, you know, Arbor and Solomon, but at the same time, it was still keeping true to, like, giving you stories, so it wasn't just completely like, oh, Solomon Sama or something like that. So I liked how it still kept to its base, but definitely it was kind of like diving into that territory and kind of giving you like, oh, this one had a kid since then, but it still gave you vital information. So I felt it was a good chapter. Wasn't the greatest or anything like that. It was kind of like an intermission chapter, giving you a little bit of details here and there. And I like, even in a chapter like that, where it feels like it's a simple chapter, you still get a lot of information, the whole aging process. You get a lot of different things with this chapter, pretty much the origin, dragon, the race that was there before humans became magicians. A lot of different things with this chapter. So good chapter. I'm gonna give this one 7.5 out of 10. For the most part, it was diving into different things, giving you some knowledge along the way, and it was like, yeah, even in a simple chapter, you still get that Magi greatness. So let me know what you think. Do you think that David is corrupting the Mogwai and turning it from White Rook to Black Rook? Also, what do you think regarding the origin dragon? What do you think he's going to tell Solomon when he goes to ask him if he's even still around at this point? And what is your whole thoughts regarding the whole Solomon X Arbor? Do you think that that is what's going to make one of them fall into the Pravati and ultimately become Gyokuin? Your overall thoughts of the chapter. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for once again that Magi greatness with that Solomon. Is like, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen next, but I just can't wait to see. For that world, and as always, people, have an awesome day.